Let's take a look at number 3. Sure, why not? So notice that there are no exponents on the outside of the parentheses, so you're not going to be distributing anything. This is really just saying this times this, and that's just rule number 1. You could rearrange things if you want and put the minus 5 times 3 and put the x squared times the x to the 4th and the y by itself at the end. You could do that if you want, but after doing that a couple of times, you should be able to get just straight to the answer. Negative 15, x to the what? 6, y. And there's your answer for number 3. Now let's do one that's a little bit more challenging, kind of like number 7, right? There is nothing to distribute. Still, there is no exponent on the outside of the parentheses, but you could rearrange it. And we do know that negative 15 times negative 1/3 is a positive answer. So you know your answer is going to be positive. Now, how do you multiply negative 15 with negative 1/3? You just put the 15 over a 1, and then you could either cross cancel or multiply the top with the top, bottom with the bottom. And if you do multiply 15 times 1, you get 15. 1 times 3, you get 3. And 15 divided by 3 is really 5. So the first part of your answer is positive 5. Okay, negative 15 times negative 1/3 is positive 5. And now you could deal with the x's. What is x times x? X to the second power. So let's put that right here. Positive 5x to the second power. And also, how about y to the 4th times y to the 3rd? That's y to the 7th. You see? It's easy. Check out number 11. That one's a little more interesting because this is, after all, a parenthesis with the exponent of 2 on the outside, which means I could distribute that outside parenthesis of 2 to each of the terms. Now it gets a little bit more interesting because 2/3, that's a number, 2/3. If you put to the power of 2 on the 2/3, I mean, it's easy. You could put the power on the p to the second, that's easy. But 2/3 to the second, that requires you to either distribute the 2 to the 2 and the 3, or to simply think 2/3 of the second power, which is 2/3 times 2/3. So what is 2/3 times 2/3? 4/9. So the first part of your answer will be 4/9, and the second part of your answer will be p to the second power. Sorry. So the answer is 4/9 p to the second power. So all you got to do, guys, is apply these 3 rules that we learned today and check your answers on the back of this worksheet, and you should be good. Now, one other thing down here, we're not going to do number 20, but I do want you to do 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 15, it's telling you to express the area of this rectangle given the variable expressions as the length and the width. So you need to know that the area is really length times width, right? So your actual area will be the length, which is 6a squared b to the 4th times 3ab squared. And of course, you're going to be applying the rules of exponents here to be able to figure this out. Make sense? The other formula for the area of a circle, I hope you guys remember, is the area is pi r squared. Now, what is r? It's the radius, in this case, 5x to the 3rd. So when you work out this problem, you're going to have pi times the radius squared, but the radius is 5x to the 3rd, and you should know how to distribute that 2 in there. Does that make sense? Okay. Last but not least, the triangle over here. What's the area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2, or you could say 1/2 times base times height, whatever you like. Okay, so I would go with the 1/2 times the base times 4a squared b times the height, which is 6ab to the 3rd. Okay, and that's how you work this out, using the rules of exponents. And last but not least, on these guys, they want you to find the volume, and volume simply length times width times height. So you're actually going to set up m to the third n, that's the base, or the length, times m n to the third, that's the width, and then we have the height times n. So you're going to use the rule 1 of exponents to figure out that answer. Okay, I'm done. You guys are not. Make sure you work on this worksheet. Check your answers on the back and study them, because a lot of these questions will be on tomorrow's quiz.